Hey guys, project-zodiac here. I'm back with another video, and in this video I'm reviewing a movie that is one I'm very excited to talk about because it's just so fun. Welcome to my review of Sonic the Hedgehog 1. So I grew up playing the Sonic games a lot. I've always been a Nintendo fanboy, especially with The Legend of Zelda. Um, but Sonic the Hedgehog is just so fun. I have so many memories playing it. I'm not going to go into a whole rant with that. Maybe at the end I will, but it's just so fun. Um, yeah, Sonic is definitely better than Mario in terms of gameplay and everything, for me at least. Mario is just overrated, but uh, very, very, what's the right word to say here? Um, Influential and very respected in many ways. But anyway, so the Sonic series is something that I love a lot. And when they announced the movie, I was so excited for it. And then we got the movie. And yeah, I just love this movie a lot. So before we get into the review, if you haven't watched this movie, watch it. Just watch it. It's so good. It's fun. It's super cute. It's very heartwarming, and it's just so nice. And it's just a fun time. It's just a fun movie. So that's the short answer of what I think about this movie. I do prefer Sonic 2, but I'll leave that for my review of Sonic 2. But yeah, this video will have spoilers for all of Sonic the Hedgehog 1. And also keep in mind that I won't be talking so much about Sonic 2 or 3 here. Sonic 3 comes out this Friday, and I'm so excited for it, especially because we get Shadow, so that's gonna be really cool. But yeah, so I thought right now would be the perfect time to rewatch the first two movies and give my thoughts on it. I'm thinking right now if I should give my thoughts on the Knuckles show, but I don't think I will. It's gonna be a very busy week, and I kind of want to release these two movies. I'll probably talk a little bit about Knuckles on Sonic 2's review, but not give a review on it. Point is, though, I wanted to get these videos out and let you know what I think about the movies so that I can also review Sonic 3 when it comes out. And what's really cool about Sonic 3 is that it's coming out the same day that Mufasa, the Lion King movie comes out, and that's a prequel to The Lion King. So they both come out on the same day, and I already bought tickets for both. Both of them are 2 hours long. So at 7:30 Mufasa starts, and at 9:30 Sonic 3 starts. So I'm really gonna be going from Mufasa to Sonic 3 right away. It's gonna be really fun, and I'm just so excited for it. Yeah, I haven't watched two movies in the theaters on the same day in a long time, so I'm really excited for it. And it kind of makes me think of the whole Barbie Oppenheimer thing where there was memes of people leaving one and going to the other. So that'll be interesting. My review for both of those movies will be out on Saturday. Because I'm going to get home very late because the movie theater is almost an hour away from me. So anyway, welcome to my review of Sonic the Hedgehog 1. There's a lot I have to say about this movie. I'm going to be going super fast, jumping all over the place, but I think that that's kind of fitting for Sonic. So let's just start with the things that I love. First of all the callbacks and the references to the games and everything, they did a fantastic job. You can really see how much they cared about this movie and staying true to it and committing to making the fans proud and happy. You got things like when Sonic falls, his rings fall, and just like it does in the games, and they make the noise as well. Those are simpler things, but the way that they go about doing these callbacks is what feels natural. It feels realistic, and I love that. So it doesn't feel forced. It feels like, yeah, no, that was part of the story. That's part of what happens. And like the noises and stuff like that is just how it works in that universe. So I think it's fantastic. And then there's some things which is very small, like maybe I had noticed this one when I originally saw it, but I probably forgot about it. But there's a scene. Oh no, wait, I'm thinking about Sonic 2 right now. I'm sorry. But that's the thing that all the Sonic movies does, is that they're very, very good at making references and making you see things And if you're a fan of Sonic, you're gonna know exactly what that reference is. But if you're not, you're just gonna see it in the background, and it's not gonna seem so distracting, because a lot of the callbacks in this movie and in Sonic 2 as well really is aimed at the fans and done in a natural way. A little bit of a complaint though, there are some references and callbacks where I think they could have done a little bit differently. For example, where the town that the movie takes place in is called Green Hills. But Green Hills is, we see it at the start of the movie when it's on Sonic's planet and he's doing the whole circle and it looks just like it does in the video games. That scene there, that was Green Hills in the game. So why not tell us that Sonic lived in Green Hills of his planet instead of calling his town Green Hills? There's a couple of references in this movie and in Sonic 2 that does it like that, and I just don't get it. I'm not complaining so much about it because it works, but then it's like, but why did you do it this way? That doesn't really make sense. But it works, so I can't be so mad about it, if that makes any sense. A very good example in regards to Sonic 3 with that, because Sonic 3 isn't out yet. I can, though, at least talk about this because it's actually in the trailer for Sonic 3. The Chow Garden and the Chows. I'm so excited we're getting those. But the way that they're going about doing that is literally like a Chuck E. Cheese restaurant with people dressed in giant Chow plush costumes. So in my mind, it's like, why is the Chow Garden a garden that's not a garden? Why is it a restaurant with plush stuffed suits with people in it? Why? Like, yes, we're getting the reference of the Chows, and that's nice. I'm so happy for it. But why do it like that? So there are a few things like that where you question why they're going with the reference this way, but then you're just like, okay, no, it works. Like, I'm questioning it, but I can't question it because it actually works, so it's fine. It's kind of like that. There are some changes that are done where I wish they would have kept it how it is in the games, but the changes work, so I can't be too mad about it. So yeah, there's a couple of things with that in this movie. I'm trying to think about something else that they would have done that's like that. I'm not sure, but anyway, so yeah, the movie itself has fantastic references, and they really cared about the fandom, not just with the references, but actually listening to the fandom. Sega and Paramount were so focused on making this movie as good as it could be that they actually listened to the fans, delayed this movie, and really focused on changing Sonic's design, because we all remember how that original Sonic design looked. I wasn't hating it, to be honest. Like, I thought it was an interesting choice. I just didn't really like how his hands were, and why his legs looked so buffed, which a lot of people joked about. But I didn't hate his design. I just think they should have gone with a more natural look for it. But yeah, the internet hated it so much. But thankfully, Sega and Paramount listened to the fans, delayed the movie, and redesigned Sonic's design so he's more like he is in the games. And I love that, and I'm so grateful for that, and I thank God for that, because finally we got Sonic himself. I do have some issues with the final design. Like, I think that his quills are way too narrow, like, because Sonic's hair or quills are a little bit puffier, so they kind of stick out a little bit. They have a very distinct profile, whereas in the movie, it's kind of like sleeked back a little bit more. So it makes his head look thinner than what it actually is. So that's mostly my complaint with it. So I just think he looks a little bit skinnier than he's supposed to be. And also just his arms, which I just realized I'm wearing navy blue for this review. So in the movie, his arms are fur blue, but in the games, his arms are fur tan, kind of like his mouth is. So I think that they could have just put the fur tan color instead of the fur blue. But again, I can't hate it because it works. I just prefer Sonic with the tan, which I still don't know if that's actually fur tan or if that's skin. Um, because if you know hedgehogs, from my understanding, they have naked paws, so I don't think that there's fur on them on the paws. I could be totally wrong on that though, um, but still, I think that it would have made sense if he had the tan thing. So yeah, I just don't know if in the games that is fur, like how his mouth is tan fur in the movies, or if it's literally just skin. Um, I don't know. I always thought it was just skin. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool that they did address that, and the design for him looks really well. So I love it. I'm glad that they listened to the fans, not just with the references, but also with the actual design, because they really felt like they wanted to do this movie justice, and they did. Another thing that I love with Sonic Media is like I love seeing his planet or his world. In this movie, they made his world be a different planet, but I don't know if that's how it is in the games. It's always a little bit weird with the planet that Sonic lives. Like, is it Earth? Or is it a alternate universe? Or what is it exactly? A different dimension? Um, or what is it? You know? But in this movie, they make it be a different planet, and that makes sense. So I really like that. I love how they make the rings be a portal. That's an addition. I don't think that that's really how it is. Actually, hold on. Now that I'm remembering it, sometimes when you finish a level, there's a ring and you just go into it. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was gonna say that that's an addition that I didn't mind, but turns out no. The rings actually do act as teleporters sometimes because they take you to the different stages. I can't believe I never really realized that until just now. So yeah, I always thought that the rings in the movie being portals was just an invention of the movie, but no, it's actually something that happens in the games, and I never noticed this before. Um, so yeah, but I think the way that it's done in the movie is exclusive to the movie, where you think about it, you toss it, and it becomes a gateway to it. I love it. Um, so yeah, that is really really cool. Um, but yeah, so Sonic's world is a different planet, and I wish we got to see more of it, really, because we only see it for a few minutes. And honestly, we don't even see other Sonic beings, other Sonic races. We see the Echidna very quickly, and they're kind of hard to miss because they have all that gear on. And then you see Long Claw, which, from my understanding, is a original creation from the movie. I don't remember being having like a big owl creature in any Sonic game, um, but it fits, so that works. And also, Baby Sonic was so cute. I wish we got to see more of him. Um, but yeah, so I thought that that was really, really cool that they kind of show us a little bit of that. I wish they showed us a little bit more. But what I'm trying to get at is one thing that this movie does that I love is that they incorporate real world with Sonic. And some of my favorite Sonic games do that. Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 did that. Sonic Frontiers, do they do that? No, they don't. Not in Sonic Frontiers. Um, but a couple other games do. I know that Sonic 06 does that. I never played 06, I only saw the cutscenes for it. So I thought that that was really cool. Sonic X, which is a fantastic show. I never watched all of it, but the episodes that I always watched was always so cool. So it's really nice that they took that element of putting Sonic and the Sonic characters in the real world, and it's been done in the games before. But then it kind of makes you wonder in Sonic Adventure, how did that happen? Because we don't see the regular Sonic stages in Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, the games. Anyway, sidetracking. So it's really cool that they focused on that element a lot of interacting Sonic characters with the real world. So I loved it, and the characters themselves are really really cool. The family dynamic is really cool. I just loved it a lot. I loved Sonic's nicknames, Donut Lord, Pretzel Lady. Like it's just so cool. Um, but yeah, overall the plot itself is really nice. And I love that they included, that element of Sonic interacting with humans. Because then I always wondered ever since I was little, why is Robotnik the only human there? What's the story with that? So I love that they kind of addressed that here. Now, this movie is kind of a introduction movie, and some introduction movies are either the best parts of the series or it's always the weakest part. It's always one of the two, So, um, or sometimes it could be just as good as another part in the series. Yeah, so it's always one of those three. Um, but yeah, it's an introduction movie and it's very fun and it's really good at really introducing you to the world. I do have some complaints with that though, which I'll explain in a little bit. But it's a fantastic introduction movie to really get you introduced to Sonic, really build up Eggman's backstory, and how Sonic became a part of that family. Now, I love the plot itself because Sonic is done in a way here that I myself can relate to a lot. Um, in regards to loneliness, in regards to being somewhere where you. Sorry, my eye is so itchy right now. In regards to loneliness, in regards to being a place where you are alone and um, being different from everyone around you, and people don't understand you, and also uh, just being in a place where it's not your home, but you're having to live there and make a home out of it as much as you can, until eventually you find home in there. So uh, there's a lot that I can relate to with Sonic in regards to this in this movie, and it was done really, really well done. Um, I really, really loved it in regards to that. So I could connect to this version of Sonic a lot. Um, and yeah, I just thought it was really cool. And then, of course, we have Jim Carrey as Robotnik or Eggman. And so my complaint with the movie was that he's Eggman, but he's not Eggman. He's Jim Carrey being Eggman, but at the same time, it's still Eggman. Um, so, yeah. And a part of that is with his design because he didn't look like Eggman. So even at the end when he put on the red suit, it didn't look like Eggman. He wasn't fat, or at least he didn't have the giant belly. Uh, he still had hair. His mustache wasn't puffy. So it's like, what were they thinking? Sorry, it's like, what were they thinking? But again, it's a introduction movie. So it's the backstory for Eggman, and it's the backstory for Sonic. So because of that, it works, especially when you put it in comparison with Sonic 2 and then now with Sonic 3. So you really see the evolution of not just Sonic, but of Eggman as well, and them being who they are. And I love that so much, and it's so cool. And it's Jim Carrey. I love Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey is one of my favorite actors ever since I was little. And it's just so nice to see him having fun with his role and just being himself in it. And that's what I mean by it's Eggman, but it's not Eggman because Eggman is wacky like that. He's a little bit more serious though, especially in the terms of his voice, whereas Jim Carrey's Eggman is more funny in his voice. But again, the video game Eggman is a little bit more serious in his wackiness. But yeah, so video game Eggman, serious in the wackiness, movie Eggman, funny in the wackiness. Still the same character, just done a little bit differently. Again, it's one of those things where it's like, why did you change it? But at the same time, I can't complain because it works so well. So yeah, Jim Carrey's fantastic as Eggman. and I do like that we get to see that progression of him at the start of the movie till the very end, where he does have the sorry, the puffy mustache, and he shaves his hair, and you see at the very end of the movie he has a little bit of a belly, just a little bit. It's barely there, really, um, but you see him starting to become Eggman. Um, he even does an actual Eggman voice at the end of the movie, like one that's straight out from the games. I'm like, why didn't you kind of use that voice throughout the movie though? Like it's perfect. Um, so yeah, so it's really nice seeing them interacting with each other and everything. It's just so cool, and his sidekick as well is fantastic. I forgot his name, um, but he kind of just idolizes Eggman, and it's just so cool. But yeah, Jim Carrey is always fantastic. I love his movies, so I'm really glad that he's coming back for Sonic the Hedgehog 3 after he had said that he was retiring from movies. But what I think people took that out of proportion with him saying that, because when he announced he was retiring, he literally said that he's not actually retiring. He said that he's just going to be more picky with the scripts he's going to be taking on, and like it's going to have to be a script that's what he said written in gold ink. In other words, that really calls to him like this is for me. In fact, I actually found out that for Sonic 3, they literally gave him a gold in ink script. So they gave his wish literally. Like he wanted a golden script, they gave it to him. Um, so I thought that was hilarious that they actually wrote his script in gold ink um, for Sonic the Hedgehog 3. And he also did say that he also is coming back for it, not just because of that, but also because he loves the character, and also because he just needed to work because he spent a lot of money. But yeah, so people are saying he came out of retirement just because he wanted money or for whatever reason, but he's literally coming back in Sonic the Hedgehog 3 for literally the exact reasons he said that he would come back for any movie, which is it has to be something that really calls to him with the script itself, and something that he can have fun with. And he loves the Eggman character. He makes it his own while staying true to the character, even in this movie. So the fact that he is coming back for Sonic the Hedgehog 3, I'm so excited for, because yeah, he has to work, but also because it's a script that he really felt called to him, and it's a movie and the character that he is so passionate about, and that just makes me really happy. And now he's talking about making an actual sequel to The Mask and a sequel to The Grinch. So I'm excited for that if they do make those movies. But anyway, Eggman as Robotnik in this movie is a really good beginning arc for him, which is later on fixed and solidified in Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which I'm so excited to talk about. But yeah, the movie itself is just so good. It's so fun. It really is a story about an outsider finding love and family and allowing himself to be himself. So I loved it. Again, I can relate to Sonic in many ways. The way that he's portrayed in this movie, I can relate to him in many ways. So it's very heartwarming for me because it is a heartwarming story. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't some complaints with the movie. One of the biggest ones is they do a lot of exposition, and that exposition isn't bad. It's just sometimes it's done really naturally, but then sometimes it's done so forcefully. A really good example is at the start of the movie when Sonic is on Earth already and he's playing around in his little cave. Um, and then he trips and falls and his bag of rings fall, and then he's like, oh no, my rings, and then he just grabs it and tosses it, and then we see the mushroom planet that he's supposed to go to if Earth becomes dangerous, and then he's just saying, yep, just time to go to that mushroom planet. It's not the issue of that itself, it's more about the issue of him falling and acting, oh no, my rings, kind of like that, like totally just like in despair that he just dropped his rings. It's kind of like, yes, we get that the rings is important, but that is a little bit forced. You don't need to be like, dude, you just tripped in your own house. You don't need to act like you just dropped it off of a building and you gotta run down to catch it or something like that. It's literally in front of you in your own house. So I and that was just kind of like a plot device to get him to throw the ring so that we can see the planet, for him to give the exposition on that's where he's supposed to go. I really think that that could have just been done totally different. He did not need to trip. He could have just been walking around or doing something and just being happy about being there, and then, just taking a look, taking in at everything he has on Earth, and then remembering what Longclaw says, and then just like looking at the map and just going, okay. And then tossing the ring and just looking at it, and it's like, well, this is everything I have here on Earth, and that's what's gonna be there. I really just want to stay on Earth, like, look at all these things that I love, and I think, and I'm grateful that, he stays on Earth. But I just think that that was something that they really needed to change. And there's a couple of other examples like that in the movie. I'm just focusing on that because that's a very big one. But there are other moments very similar to that where the exposition is given forcefully when they could have just given it naturally. So that's one big complaint that I have with the movie. I do know that a lot of people complain about the product placement, such as Zillow and Olive Garden. I honestly didn't mind it, and honestly, like, people need to put into perspective. That's a natural conversation. It's just done forcefully sometimes. Like, some things with the Olive Garden stuff in the movie was done naturally, but then there was like one or two times where it's like, okay, that is definitely product placement. But for example, the Zillow conversation, like, they're getting ready to move to a different town to be able to get this promotion. So what are they supposed to say? Oh yeah, I was just looking up addresses. Like, yeah, you would naturally just say the website that you're looking at, like on Zillow or whatever. So I just think that the way that it was delivered seemed a little bit forcefully, but the actual script itself with that particular product placement did not actually feel forceful. It did feel just like a natural thing that would happen in a conversation about going to buy a new house somewhere. So yeah, I just think that some of the product placements was a little forced, but a lot of it was just naturally stated. It's just the way that it was delivered was a bit forced. And then I had mentioned that I'm very grateful that they changed Sonic's design. There are a few moments though where Sonic is standing and you can kind of see elements of Ugly Sonic in it. And it's like, okay, I can see the old design there as a base, but it works, it's fine. Again, unlike most people, I did not actually hate Ugly Sonic's design. I just think it was a different direction that they were going with. I really only had issues with his legs and his hands, but the overall face and design that they went with the face and everything, I didn't really have an issue with it. But I'm still very glad that they changed it. But yeah, you can still see some like semblances of it. But that's not an issue. That's more just a thing that I noticed. And it's funny that Paramount knows when to bring up Ugly Sonic, which is what people call the original design, because they're actually bringing it up for a ugly Christmas sweater for Sonic the Hedgehog 3's promotional materials. So it's just Ugly Sonic on the Christmas shirt. I love it. So I'm glad that Paramount also makes Ugly Sonic kind of like a joke, but I'm really glad that they listen to the fans. Now, really, one of the last complaints that I have is that Sonic's voice is not bad. I just think he's not as good as the video game voices. I don't know why they didn't just get the video game voice actor. I know that they recently changed the video game voice actor, but the one starting from Sonic Colors was amazing. I think his no, I can't remember his name right now. I remember a name, but I think it's him, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But yeah, the voice actor starting from Sonic Colors onwards until recently, that they recently changed, was fantastic as Sonic. I don't know why they didn't just give him the part to play Sonic. But yeah, the Ben Schwartz, I think is his name, the voice actor of movie Sonic. He does a good job. It's a bit whiny, the voice in some parts. Not that it's a bad thing, it's just how they handle Sonic, and it fits this version of Sonic. It fits him. So I can't complain too much about it because it fits, it works. I just prefer the video game's voice tone because he seems a little bit more mature. Um, but that is actually the point of the Sonic because he's younger, and that leads into my actual complaint that I'm getting at is that this Sonic is just super focused on the hyper element, that he's not focusing on the cool element that Sonic has. He has this laid back coolness to it with some hyperness. This Sonic is just straight out hyperness, just hyperness. And yeah, he's supposed to be younger. This one I would say is kind of like Sonic being 13, 14 years old, maybe. Or actually, not even 14, like 11 to 12 years old. That's what this Sonic feels like. Whereas in Sonic 2, he does seem more mature. He definitely feels a little bit more in line with a like 15, 16-year-old Sonic, even though it's only a year later. So he matured a lot in that 1 year. And then in Sonic 3, it looks like he's more in line with modern day Sonic and modern day Sonic's thoughts, but still being movie Sonic, but more mature, if that makes sense. At least that's what it looks like from the trailers. We'll see. So it's like I said with Eggman, it's nice that we see this evolution of Sonic in the movies, of him being very hyper to more mature. I think that that's really well done. So yeah, it's just a little complaint with this movie. It's just I do think he's just a little bit too hyper in regards to how he is. He can be a little bit whiny with some things and doing a lot of like meme stuff. But then it works, so I can't be mad at it because it just works. But yeah, yeah, overall though, this movie is so cute. It's so fun. It's really just so fun. And one last complaint. I don't know if it is because they had to only extend the movie for like 3 months or 3 or 4 months. So they had a very little time to completely rework a lot of the CGI for Sonic. But there are times where Sonic looks fantastic. But then there are times where it's just him, and then it really sticks out a lot, especially in the scenes we where we saw in the original trailer with Ugly Sonic. So the CG for new Sonic in those scenes definitely do look a little bit strange. Again, I'm not a big person who complains about CG. I'm just saying that yeah, the CG for that does seem a little bit rushed, but then there are other moments in the movie that we didn't see in the original trailer where the CG works really well. But then there are moments where Sonic is interacting physically with the human characters that the CG is like, you can tell like the hands kind of just floating. So I don't know if it's because of them having to redesign Sonic and had to do so very rushedly or very quickly, or if it's just because of the budget, or just the CG that they decided to go with. But that was just a little bit of a complaint in how some parts of it looked. Again, I'm not a person that complains about CG, even though I'm complaining about CG. Because what I mean is, CG, if it's bad, for me, it doesn't ruin the movie like for a lot of people. For me, it's just like, yeah, it could have been a little bit better on this part, but it's still a fun movie. It's not making the movie any worse or better. It's just really cool. So it works, it's a fun movie, and that's what it is. In terms of cinematography as well, like, it's not trying to be an art film, it's being a film, a fun movie, and it does that perfectly. So yeah, I love this movie. It's so fun. I still prefer Sonic the Hedgehog 2, so much more, because this one is kind of just like its own little thing with a lot of callbacks, where Sonic 2 is like the Sonic movie for the fans. Like, this is what you all wanted Sonic 1 to be. Like, you got a little bit of that there, but you know, let us do our own thing, but now we're doing this one for you. That's what Sonic 2 feels like. So it works. But yeah, I'm so excited to talk about Sonic 2. But yeah, this movie though is just so fun, so amazing, and it's so good. So if you haven't watched this movie, please go watch this movie. Sonic the Hedgehog 1 is so fun. In a few days, I'll be releasing my review on Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and then on Saturday, I will release my review on Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and also my review on Mufasa the Lion King. So I hope you guys stay tuned for that. With all that said, rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll talk to you later. Have a good day. Actually, wait, before I go, one quick update. I'm also already working on a new video for my Xenoblade video essays that should be coming out within a few weeks. So please stay tuned for that. Just wanted to get that notice out. Alright, with all that said, rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll talk to you later. Have a good day.